Ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Advance here, and welcome to a news update. Now, in the past week or so, we've had some interesting news come out. Firstly, on alien language, Star Citizen has created 2 languages so far. We have the Vandal language, and secondly to that, we have the Xion. Now, they're going quite far with these languages. They are full languages that you can learn to speak. Secondly to that, they have a full alphabet that you can see. I'll pop an image up on the screen in a minute. It's nice to see they're going quite in depth with the game. Now, there is a full video on how the languages have been created so far. It's definitely worth watching, guys. It's an interesting watch. I'll leave a link in the description below. One thing that I found quite interesting is how they actually formulated the language from a text point of view. Considering the Vandal only have 3 fingers, having a good understanding of the Vandal writing and the Xion will help you in game, because I no doubt that we will get some missions where you see writing on the wall and you may have to convert it, or secondly to that, it might even be a distress call from the Vandal themselves, and if you can intercept it and translate it, that could create some super cool missions. There's a small sample here, guys, so you can hear some of the language being spoken by one of the RSI actors. I'll let you listen to that and then we'll continue on.
Okorai shaluver, shalim fisatu, lusakuyam lachnu, tingumayul tulhe, shauda kuna, ilwechach, hoshdavo butnato. So will you be learning any of the languages, either the Vandal or the Xion? Be interested to know in the comments. We also had a town hall video that Star Citizen created a little while ago that brought up some interesting information about Star Citizen and how some of the mechanics might work in the game. And I've highlighted a few that I found interesting that I thought, well, it's worth mentioning to you guys. The first topic that I found quite interesting was when they spoke about the planetary systems and the planets themselves, on how they're going to be adding depth to the planets. So the planets are not going to be something that you're just going to land on and fly off. They're going to be very similar to big planets like Earth. From an exploration point, it starts when you're on the planet. Now, to add another layer to that gameplay, you will be presented with weather effects and different environment conditions that might need special equipment for you to survive on the planet to maybe get that resource you need. Secondly to that, it might be a planet where you can't physically land a large ship on, that you have to go down in a smaller craft, or possibly you might need to explore the planet on a smaller rover. Now, the planets will be rich in different things to do. Once you find a planet, exploration starts on the planet. I really like that. I like the fact that they're adding that depth. Otherwise, we're going to be playing a game where you sort of land, have a quick look, fly off and you're done. I like the fact that the planet is a continuous mission for yourself to explore and find new stuff. Something I'm looking forward to because I'm really excited about the exploration part in Star Citizen. The next topic they spoke about that I found interesting as well was the landing zones. There is different types of landing zones, clearly. There's landing zones on planets when you're doing exploration. Clearly you can just land or take a small craft down, take a rover down. But for the bigger stations where masses of players might be going to, there will be a path that you have to fly. I say have to fly. You can fly out of the path. If you do fly out the path, your computer will basically nudge you back in line. And the reason is to prevent players from crashing into the stations, taking up the wrong paths. I have no doubt once the first draft of this is in the game that it will be rebalanced and adjusted. Once again, it's not 100% autopilot as such. It will rely on you flying your ship to land as well. I think that that's a good balance between a 100% autopilot and you flying yourself. So it's sort of in between. And like I said, that's only going to be the case for the larger zones. The next topic was regarding ISP disconnects and logouts, or people logging out because they're going to die. Now, this is pretty critical for everyone really, because every now and again my internet dies. And secondly to that, you don't want other people combat logging, and we need to understand how that mechanic physically works, particularly if you've got friends on the ship as well. If you log out and it's only you on the ship will despawn after a period of time. If you've logged out while you're not in a safe zone or there's no ships nearby,
Your ship will be on a cooldown period, so you will log out and it will persist there for a period of time. We don't quite know what that time is yet. I've no doubt that that will be adjusted over the period of time of whatever it's going to start at. And then once it gets to a point, it will log itself out. Now, if you're in a combat zone and you do that and someone realizes you're logging out, obviously that could be pretty bad if a player got on your ship. If you've got friends on your ship, the ship will not log out until the players have left the ship. Secondly to that, you can give your friends access to the cockpit seat. It will work on a hierarchical structure or station structure around the ship, depending on what ship you've got. So you can set different players with different types of access level. So say for instance, I was the only captain of a ship and I had 5 players on board. If I DC'd and I logged out by mistake, they wouldn't necessarily be able to fly the ship, but they would better man the guns. They would be able to fulfill their role, but they wouldn't better fly off with the ship, unless I gave someone on that ship the permission to do so. From what they're proposing so far, it does seem relatively fair, because at the end of the day, it is a game. Once again, I've no doubt that this will need adjusting over time. Now, something that has been spoken about before, and that is the component wear and tear on a ship. Now, so far, by the looks of it, a component could wear just over time, or it could be worn due to excessive damage. So if you're planning on going into deep space for a long period of time on a long mission, you probably want to make sure that the components on your ship are serviced and not at a very high damage state. Secondly to that, you probably need to make sure that you have some spare parts on board and also the correct repair tools. Now, this also will have an impact on battle as well. Let's just say that you come under attack, and while you're under attack, the shield generator failed. A player on that ship could use a particular tool and possibly repair that shield generator to a certain point so it came back online. I like the idea of that. There will be many components, and this also could probably be fires, leaks, all sorts of other things as well. So you can actually maintain yourself in battle longer if you've got a good crew and they can repair things efficiently and also man their stations. I think once this is in Star Citizen, in what our current build, I think that this will add massive value to the multiplayer aspect of the game, because at the moment you sort of just jump in a constellation and you don't really need anyone in the gunner seats or the other seats. So this should make it a little bit more viable for other players to take part in a multi-role ship. From the majority of the information we got there, my take is the multi-crew aspect of it needs heavy focus, because the game is based around small to very, very large multiplayer ships, and we need things for these other players to do to make them want to join crew and be a part of a crew. And this is the first part of that, and I have no doubt after time that these ships will evolve and there'll be more things to do on the ships that can keep all the crew entertained. Now, the final one that I found really, really interesting, and I've got hope for that this could encourage some really good multiplayer aspect, and that is the service beacon. A long time ago they did mention that there'd be the ability for a player or a organisation within Star Citizen to create missions and so on. They're calling it a service beacon. I see why it makes total sense. So let's say you're in the middle of space flying around, you've got some major issues and you need some repairs. You could create a mission and it will be broadcasted over the service beacon, and a ship could come along and repair you. And obviously this could be fuel, supplies, all sorts of other stuff as well. Or you could create a mission for someone to join you on your ship because maybe one of your friends has logged out. Now, I'll tell you why I really like this mechanic, because it's encouraging multiplayer and helping you with the introduction to new players. Rather than you just playing with your friends or playing with the guild, this is encouraging a player to actually go out there and meet other people as well, which is the whole point of a multiplayer game. And a lot of MMOs I've played in the past, it's always been quite difficult to get that introduction to a new player. Now, clearly, this could be a bad player, it could be a good player. Some of the tools that will be in place to help you vet this candidate will be a reputation system for that particular player. So as you play Star Citizen, you build up a reputation, whether it's in combat, mining, salvage, being a crew member, and that will be against your status. So he will be able to look at your reputation and then make a decision from that point. That doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to try and do something while he's on the ship, but at the same time, it's giving you the tools to at least be able to vet that person. At the same time, the risk sort of makes it fun as well. So I think that one there is going to be really, really cool, particularly if it's a player who's just picked up Star Citizen and they're playing on their own. If they responded to a beacon, they could go out and possibly join in on a multi-crew ship, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Now, clearly there is a downside to this. If people intercept that beacon message, a pirate, for instance, that you need refueling or you need rearming, you see where this is going. Now he knows you haven't got any guns. So that is the downside. There is an element of risk over reward there. And I suppose, and also, it depends where you're broadcasting the signal from. If you're in the UEE space or if you're in lawless space, I should imagine the chance of interception will be slightly different in them two locations. So what do I think in general of the information that we're being presented with Star Citizen? They seem like logical mechanics that can work. And from what I've seen so far, there's nothing really jumping out at me that's I'm thinking, God, that is really, really bad. So I'm generally quite pleased with some of this feedback we're getting. So all in all, this year, it looks like the Star Citizen's making a good start and 3.0 is on the cards. The final thing on the agenda today, guys, if you check in the description below, there is a link to an organisation I have as well. So if you're looking to join an organisation, then feel free. That's everything from me, guys. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.